had 3 to start with. 1 didn't make it through the week.
Hi, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. We are so lucky to have, what's your name again? Cathy Johansen. You were on the show, what's got to be 8 years ago?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was for the
St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Are you involved in that still?
No, I had to give something up.
Yeah.
Some things had to go, and unfortunately, I had to leave the St. Patrick's Day Committee behind for a while.
Yeah.
So.
But I see they just announced their Grand Marshal and their aides, and so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like anything else. You always got to start a year early to plan.
That's it.
What you have to do.
Definitely.
So.
And having been on their committee, I know they plan through the year. So it's a lot of work, but they do a great job. So it's a wonderful thing to have that in Peekskill.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, thanks for having me.
All right. And if everybody volunteered as much as this woman does, this world would be in wonderful shape, would be in beautiful shape. So I want to thank you so much for
thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And just give us a little background where you grew up.
I'm not a Peekskill native. I grew up in a couple of different places. I actually spent my childhood across the river in Valley Cottage, which was a NIAC school district at the time. And then we moved here and there, but ended up in South Miami for my teenage years.
Nice.
And came back to southern Westchester. I lived in Harrison for part of my last of my high school years and into my early 20s. So, but I made it up here and decided to stay.
Yeah. So you got into law enforcement.
Yes, I did.
And it wasn't what you expected.
Well, I do have law enforcement in my background.
Okay.
My father was a federal agent. My brother was a major in Miami-Dade in Florida, and all my uncles were New York police officers, so they were there, but it never really dawned on me to become a police officer until and I've said this story to other people in the past. It's not like it was a secret. I had 2 children under my belt, and I needed a good job with good benefits and something that I would give me a different experience every day. So. I took the police test and landed in Peekskill. Greatest move I ever made.
Yeah.
So.
And it is an excellent community.
Oh God, I fell in love with it the first day I came down here, up here actually. I loved the fact that we were on the river, and the people themselves very down home and very friendly. It wasn't a misnomer saying that Peekskill a friendly town. It was.
It is, and it's beautiful that. You got Peekskill, Croton, then you got Montrose, Buchanan, Burr-Plank, and it's almost like one big community.
Yeah. It's you have the outlying areas with Cortland Manor and Montrose and all of those, and Peekskill proper is just always something going on.
Yeah, and you can't beat the landscape. You can't beat the Hudson River. You can't beat
It's gorgeous over here.
It is.
Like,
we are so lucky.
Yeah.
They always say, you don't realize what you have until you're not there.
It's funny. I used to go up to Bear Mountain when I lived down county, and me and my friend used to drive up to Bear Mountain. We'd come through Route 9 and go up, and it never occurred to me that I'd actually be here one day. So it's like back in those days. So it's really nice. I love the whole area.
Me too.
Yeah.
So you started volunteering at Walter Panis High School?
I was the president. I actually came on vice president and became the president of the Walter Panis Parent Club after I was still on the job then. I felt I was doing a lot for Peekskill and the citizens of Peekskill and the students of Peekskill, and was like, well, I should do something for my own son. Yeah. And so I went to the Parent Club, and they needed a vice president at the time. So I was like, how hard could this be? So I did it, and it was a great experience. I got to, I was involved with the school, and we did, a few things for the, Panis High School then, and we had a a great rapport with the teachers and the principal then. And, we were able to institute a couple of things and get a little bit of money for the teachers. We actually instituted a mini grant program, it was called back then, where the teachers could apply for, some funds. It wasn't much that, because we were a small group, but, if they needed something for their classroom and it wasn't really something that was in the budget, or, something that they could really go to the foundation for, just apply to us. We'll, see what we could do. I mean, we brought in art exhibits. We've bought specially designed stools for certain classrooms. I mean, there were all kinds of things. They had a hiking club that needed equipment. We were able to supply things for. So.
Well, that attitude that let's get things done needs to be done. I mean, it's so important. I've been working in my family's restaurant forever, and when it's your own place, of course, if I don't do it, nobody else will.
Right.
But in your situation, you're stepping up and you're saying, look, if I don't do it, nobody else will.
I was always of the mind, if you need something, all right, let's get it done.
Yeah.
I was never one to say it's somebody else's job. And maybe I do it too much sometimes. It's like, something needs to be done. Okay, let's get it done. That's, so, while I was the president of the parent club, I was like, okay, we saw that, certain, teachers needed extra supplies, and you can't have everything in the budget. It's just, there's not room for everything. So it was like, okay, let's
Maybe
try to work
grant.
it out that we can find money so we can give it to them. It's, it's not going to do us any good sitting in a pot somewhere. It's like, so I was that way. It's, you need something, we'll find a way to get it. So
when did you get
proud of
involved with the Rotary Club?
Got involved with the Rotary Club the year I retired from policing. Howard Copeland, the owner of Scott Camera, approached me. I had known him for years through the community, and he wanted to know if I wanted to join the Rotary Club. Now, I had been to the Rotary Club a couple of times throughout my career because they've given money to the Youth Academy and things like that. So I said, sure, let me see what it's all about. And I got involved, and in the first year, they kind of grabbed me to be the substitute secretary because Bill Maher, who has moved out of state, was their secretary at the time, and he was planning on moving out of state at the time, so he wasn't there all the time. He says, well, Cathy, can you substitute for a while? I was like, yeah, sure. Not realizing that, 5 years later, I'm now the president. So, I fell into that.
Yeah. Now, how do you go through the ranks to become president?
Well, you get you become a member of the board, and that's through a committee selection. And the committee selects, and then we vote on who's on the board, and you just rise through the ranks. It's like once you get on the board, you get elected to I don't want to say elected. You become the secretary. If that's something that can happen, and you rise through the ranks, you become vice president, president-elect, and yay, president. So it's quite the ride, and then it's like every position has its responsibilities, and my position now is to make sure we get the money donated to worthy causes, and whether it's local or whatever is needed out there.
Talk about worthy causes. They provide so many different things. We were talking about the reading.
Yes, we have a literacy program that just. We're very proud of it. It's called Literacy Lovers, and it's wonderful. We had a couple of our members. One of them was a very new member who collaborated with the Peekskill School District when Peekskill School District decided to get involved with something called Peekskill Basics, which was an offshoot of Boston Basics, and it was to get parents to read to their kids and understand that literacy is important, and children have to be reading, by a certain age, and it just helps in their development and their educational prospects. So we developed, not me, the committee developed the Literacy Lovers, which is we get donated books, gently used or new children's books, and we get them donated to us, and we've literally built bookshelves, and we call them the golden bookshelves, and we put them in strategic areas around town, one of them being the Hudson Valley
Health Center.
Health Center. And kids can, where kids and parents are coming and going, kids can take a book, read it. If they want to put it back, they can put it back. If they want to take it home, they could take it home. And it's just really a lovely thing, because the kids are curious. They see this bright gold, yellow bookshelf, and they're encouraged to take the book. So it's just the whole idea is like, you get a kid interested in looking at a book, whether they can read or not. They like to look at the pictures and things like that, and get them to start being more interested in getting more books. And it's just been a phenomenal success. We've, I want to say we've been given over $15,000 worth of books easily through book drives. Barnes and Noble has had us as their book drive twice already. In the last 2 years for the holiday season, we have ordered newer books that are dual language for the children who don't speak English yet, or their parents who don't speak English, and they can read to their children. So we're very proud of that. We're continuing on. We're trying to see how we can keep it sustainable through the years, because we're going through a lot of books. So
That's awesome.
It's a wonderful thing,
Yeah.
and we're the one thing is we do have book drives several times. There are book bins in different areas of the city. I know First Hebrew had a book drive. I know the coffee shop in Peekskill has a book bin. So there are different areas that, and you can always just donate to the Peekskill Rotary if we're Thursdays down at the Cortland Colonial, if you want to drop off a book or two, but just children's books. It's great.
It's so
It's
important
really amazing.
that they start reading early.
Yes,
And
they do say that if the children don't read by the third grade, they're going to have
becomes a
difficulties
problem.
later.
Yeah.
So we want to do our part for that.
That's awesome. Now, you think polio isn't a problem anymore, but it is.
Some people don't even think polio is around anymore, but it is. Back in 1985, Rotary International, we're an international organization, we're just one small part of it. Rotary International decided to make polio their big cause to eradicate polio throughout the world. And back then, I want to say there were maybe 350,000 cases of polio in 1985, and in 175 countries. I think I have that right. Today, there's only 3 countries that have any diagnosed cases of polio. That's Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. And for the most part, Afghanistan and Pakistan really just don't want anybody there giving their kids vaccines for one reason or another. So we're trying to get there, but we're like 90%, 99% done, and we're just going to keep going until we finally do have it eradicated. It's a devastating disease, and people who don't understand that it's still out there. Look at the whole measles epidemic. All it takes is a couple of people who decide that they don't need to have the vaccines anymore, and the next thing you know, it's like people, the disease comes back. So we don't want to see that with polio, and because the civilized world, for the most part, is free of it, doesn't mean it's not there. So we want to just keep people aware that we still need work done.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something that with that, Rotary has international vaccination days where they actually have members of Rotary clubs from around the world get together and go into areas that need immunizations done and do a huge drive to vaccinate millions of kids all at once. One of our own members has gone to India. He's just gone. He'll be gone for maybe 2 weeks. He's a brand new member, and he decided he wanted to do something big, and he decided to go on his own. He's going to India through the Rotary clubs of the Rotary International and to participate in their immunization days.
Yeah.
So I was very proud. I wish I could go with him, but
Yeah. Next president.
yes. I'm sure that he's on his way to make. I mean, he's literally, a year, not even a year in, to our club. So I'm really impressed with the fact that he stepped up and he wanted to do something like that.
That's great. You have a horse show every year.
Yes, we do.
And that's big. It's a big money raiser,
That
right?
is one of our biggest money. It has been our biggest fundraiser for the last 48 years. We do depend on it for most of our funds. We do have 2 other fundraisers that we do. We have our brand new Cherry Blossom Festival. It's only in our 2nd year, which did really well last year. And we also participate in the Hope for Youth golf outing in Mayapack, where we help Hope for Youth run the golf outing, and we get a portion of the profits with that too. So that's our fundraisers for those 3 major ones, but the horse show is the big one.
Yeah. Well, Jim Witt was the originator of the Hope for Youth.
Yes, he was.
I had him on the show. He was awesome.
Isn't he amazing?
Oh, he is something else, boy.
I get to drive him around in the golf
Really?
cart during the golf outing, but he's just amazing. But we collaborated with him for the golf outing because they were going to fold at one point because their members were getting older and they just couldn't handle it anymore. So we collaborated. Actually, Bruce Lindenbaum is big into it with Jim, and they brought it back, and it's a really great fundraiser, and it brings in a lot of money, and it does a lot of good for kids. And I'm very proud that we're involved with it, and we just love Jim. But and Jim works with us at the horse show also.
Yeah.
So
let's say hi to Jim. Hey, Jim. We
an
got to
aide-
get you back on the show.
he's an aide for the St. Patty's Day Parade. So.
All right. So we might have to do a show for that.
Yeah.
What about the Salvation Army?
Salvation Army, we have been involved with the Salvation Army ongoing for years now, and our member Carol Voicey is in charge. And one of the things we do for the Salvation Army is each holiday season, they obviously everybody knows they're bell ringing outside of stores. We take a weekend and all of our members sign up to keep bell ringing throughout the 2 days that we've signed up for, and we commit to a certain amount of money, and if the bell ringing brings it in, that's fine, but if the bell ringing doesn't bring in that committed amount of money, we make up the difference also. So we put our efforts into it, we put our actual manpower into it, and we commit to a set amount to at least attain, never mind if we even go over it. So it's a wonderful thing, and we like doing stuff like that. We like hands-on things. So it's one of our things, and we've been doing it for years for the Salvation Army. It's a nice thing to be able to give to them so that they can give further also.
Because they do a lot of good.
Yeah.
And the scholarships that the Rotary gives out is unbelievable.
Yeah, we have several. It takes up our whole month of June in our club. We meet weekly, and it does take up the whole month of June. And we might even have to expand it into May because last year it was a little tight. We have several scholarships. We have our educational, we have our athletic, and arts scholarship. But we also have member scholarships that have been made available in members' names. I'll give you one with Bill Flowers. He was a local businessman. When I first came here, the business was still here. And there's a scholarship for children of Latino descent where they have to write an essay telling us what in their life
What type
made
of
them what they are
hardship?
today. What kind of hardship did they go through, or to get them to where they are today? And these are some of these stories that you get can be really heartbreaking,
Sure.
and you don't realize that kids go through things that but they persevere, and they still get through it, and they still make something of themselves. So it's really it's a nice thing to be able to give them an award like that.
And have an opportunity.
Yeah, and we have a scholarship for musical talent. We have a scholarship for leadership. We have writing skills. We have Interact Clubs, which is the children a high school offshoot of Rotary, and the Sadowski Scholarship targets Interact kids in the 3 high schools that we collaborate with, and for the leadership skills, they have to write an essay, and that's a nice one also. But we have several. We have Chappie Manzer, who was a past president just before me, brought about the Andy Manzer Scholarship. Those are just a few of what our scholarships are. It's like, but last year we gave out over 20 scholarships to area kids. So it's like really.
Well, you mentioned cherry blossoms, and that makes me think of spring.
Yes.
And of course, golf, because I'm hooked on golf. But what is the cherry blossom?
Well,
program?
we just entered into our 100th year as a club.
Oh, wow.
The Peekskill Rotary has been around since 1919, and 5 years ago, the club decided that we would donate and plant 20 cherry trees a year up until our 100th anniversary to commemorate our 100th year. And we got permission from the city to plant down at the riverfront, and Chappie actually got the cherry trees. He's got the Manzer landscaping business, and he donated the services to plant the trees each year. And so now we have this cherry blossom festival that we started last year to show them off. And again, just like for a fundraiser, also everything we do is either trying to raise money or to give money. So
You can't do anything without money.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And whether it's good or bad, that's part of it.
right, right. So the cherry trees, we got the idea. One of our members had said, listen, you have it down at Washington D.C. and there was some across the river, and people flock to these things. There's one in New Jersey. It's huge. It's and it's like, why not us? And we thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And
well, they're beautiful.
they
when
are
come out.
gorgeous. They are
It's
gorgeous.
Yeah.
So last year we decided to, like I said, celebrate that we were able to get this done, and our 100th anniversary was coming up. So let's try this out, as maybe it'll work, and it was a great success. We brought in more money for for donations than we ever thought we could, and this year we're just thrilled to death that we're still doing it, and they're all in and they're all thriving. So
That's perfect.
yeah.
How can somebody get involved in Rotary? How can they join the Rotary?
Rotary it's a nonprofit, but it is a private club, so you have to be invited. But if you know somebody, or if you're interested in, you could always just contact one of us. You could always contact me. And what we do is we invite you for lunch, because we are a luncheon group, and we meet every week, and see if you're a good fit. And it goes both ways too. It's like you might not think we're a good fit, but you come to the lunch a couple of times as an invited guest. After that, if you still think everybody's in agreement that okay, you understand what we're all about, what we're the service above self, and giving time and everything else to other charities, you apply. Once you apply through your sponsor that invited you, the club goes through a couple of steps on the background end of it, and Pretty much if everybody is in agreement, you become a member of the club, and and you know, you're all in.
Yeah.
So, but it is all about service. It's, you know, we do meet for lunch, but it's really not about lunch. It's about
What are we going to do?
what are we going to do? How are we going to raise money for it? Where are we going to put all that money? And it's your volunteer hours. And though we know, we discussed this
Yeah.
before, we know it's like, it's a lot of work to be done. The horse show itself is a 3-day event. It's a setup, and it's 2 full days of work nonstop, and everybody is involved.
Yeah.
And we expect everybody to be involved in one way or another with everything, including the horse show and everything else that we do. And it can be tough sometimes for some people, so you got to remember that. And so
you had the superintendent of schools come and talk with the...
he was just here the other week, and he was discussing his philosophy on learning and what he expects out of Peekskill, and where he's going with you know, the curriculum, and how to get you know, the kids of Peekskill to, you know, in a positive way to learn and graduate. So he was there just the other week, had a great talk, and one of my proposals for my year was that we wanted to help the school district in some way. And one of the things that we're going to do, and we're in the process of it now, is that their new pre-K program, which there's 2 or 3 classes, it was set up quickly, and it's only in its 2nd or 3rd year, but they don't have any real gym equipment for the kids, for the little kids. So our club is going to outfit them
with the
basically
stuff. Yeah.
so that they have something to play with. It's, you know, and it was funny because I was talking to the superintendent, and he's like, you know, it's funny. He goes, you go around to the schools and you ask, you know, what do you need? What do you need? What's in the, you put things in the budget for things. It's like, he goes, I didn't even realize it, because the hula hoops are like the size of the children. So it's nice that, you know, this collaboration that we have, and the, you know, how everybody works alongside each other, and you find these things out, and, you know, we can help each other out. So we'll be doing that for the
you
school
were on the
district.
cover of the Cortland magazine. That
Yeah.
was a nice experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was a nice experience. It's like, you know, like I said, you know, my family, my husband, you know, he's been a lifelong Peekskill resident.
Yeah.
We've been living in Cortland in our house for 20 years now, and it was just nice that we could be on the cover. It's, you know, we've been a part of Peekskill. We continue to be a part of Peekskill and in the surrounding area, and we, you know, it's just nice to be able to you know, be recognized for you know, some of the things we do. You know, especially with the Rotary Club. You know, I'm really involved with that. So both of us.
And just another shout out to Sonia Garber for the great job she does.
Sonia, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's a member of the Rotary.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She works hard. She's trying to get more involved. She's a very busy woman.
Yeah.
So you know, but
Why
she
is
still
it the
wants
busy people seem to do the most? I don't get that.
Well, yeah, it's like we're always doing something, and yeah, Sonia is just emailing me back and forth. It's like, I'd like to get more involved. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like, okay. It's like
That's
more
just
than
in our
enough to
nature.
do. Yeah.
But if you can, get involved. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you so much for everything you do. You really are an inspiration.
Thank you very much.
You know, and this is what the show is about. So
Yeah.
don't complain about what's going on. Get involved. Make a difference.
Definitely. Do what you can.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm Victor Margiotta. This is a community show. Thank you for watching.